that we have joined the Antisocial Network.
Yeah. Mask up, stay 6 feet apart.
Yeah, right.
Hi, welcome back once again to YUH with Lisa, Phil, and Aaron. This week we are talking to Jeff Demaree. Did I say that right, or is it Demaree?
Good job.
Demaree.
Demaree? Okay.
Yeah, great.
I like to make sure. I like to try. Okay. And now I'm going to hand it over to Philip. He is going to do a quote, a comment, and an advertisement for a fellow antisocial network user.
All right. Thanks, Lisa. So welcome, Jeff. It's good to have you. Just a moment, we'll dive into our agenda here, but we lead off our show with a quote from one of our past guests, and this one happens to be another Cincinnatian. It's Lori Kleiner Eckert, who wrote the book High on Life.
Chai on life.
Chai on Life, right.
Oh.
We got a copy of that right here. And she was really, I hate to use words like delightful and stuff like that. It's really not part of my vocabulary, but she was delightful. It was a great episode. It was like a lot of fun, very positive.
Yeah.
But anyway, Lori said,
Go ahead, finish, but
Lori's-
I want to say something.
okay, Lori says it was a lot of fun talking with Lisa, Phil, and Aaron. My writing is chatty and her podcast is chatty. We were a good fit.
Yeah,
Have
I
to
do
agree
want
with
to say that if I actually believed in life coaches, which not to say that Miss Eckert is a life coach, but she is the life coach I would visit if I were to visit a life coach.
They do exist.
I know. I just don't believe. I don't know.
We'll also get a little bit of business out of the way here. We're on the Antisocial Network, so please watch this ad for another show on the network.
Check out Y2K-ish, where we drag the 90s out of the attic and roast the hell out of it. The best music, the worst fashion, and yeah, all the dumb shit we thought was cool. You butt munch. Nothing's safe, nothing's sacred. Thursdays at 9 p.m. Subscribe to not miss a thing.
So there you go, Y2K-ish.
You butt munch.
So, Jeff.
I believe I know
go ahead,
you've been on a Y2K-ish, hasn't Aaron? Aaron, have you?
No.
No? Okay.
We did have
Because I
them on a
know
couple
they
weeks
have
ago.
invited the whole crew one at a time. I have not scheduled a visit yet.
Yeah.
So, back to, of course, our wonderful guest, Jeffrey Demaree.
Yeah.
It's French, so you're right. Yeah.
Well, that's what you said last time, so I was trying.
Hi.
So I'm glad I'm doing well.
My ancestors were Vikings, and I guess someone got a bit randy when they were in France at one point.
Okay.
When they
Yeah.
were pillaging and, things that you do when you're pillaging.
Yeah, we think we're lucky to exist before, cell phones, our childhoods and stuff. Yeah, the Vikings. My ancestors were probably lucky there's no records of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, to my great surprise, I found out I was part Viking, like 2%. I did a DNA test, and I was like, I could have sworn I was, I had to have some American Indian in me. I was like, when I look at my grandmother, she looked, she had features. My great grandfather, not a bit.
I think
of
you probably
Native
do.
American.
It's just so horribly deleted.
No, deluded.
I know that I have a relative named John Tecumseh Blevins,
Mm-hmm.
who was a great uncle of my grandmother, who looked so much like an Indian as she got a Native American as she got older that it wasn't even funny, especially since she was very prejudiced because growing up as a child, they were the enemy. They were the big bugaboo enemy. And so she was not happy about looking Native at all.
But Jeff, last time you were on was episode 46.
Wow.
This is episode 270.
Oh, wow. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, it's been a long
Thanks.
time. We wanted to get your book in a lot sooner, but your book came out while we were both changing properties.
Yeah,
we were in and I was in I had a couple of hospitalizations, and then there was the changing of the properties.
Yeah, we picked up a few podcasts from that era. We
Right,
gotta
right.
revisit.
We're a little dearth in that zone.
Yeah. So what's up? What's been going on?
Well, I'm not sure what you would like to know. I mean,
Everything.
would you like
That was
a
very
postscript
open-ended
to huh?
That was a very open-ended question.
Well,
What's up?
okay.
Well,
It
Let me
was.
start with this.
I answered lots of ways.
Last time you were on, it was the week before the start of school, ironically, and I think we're in the same spot again. So, where are you at on your preparation? I think Aaron said he saw that you were setting up your room last week. That you were
He got a
getting
car
things-
full of stuff for his room. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, how's that going?
Yeah, no, that timing is obviously the same. So yeah, we have students return on Wednesday. Public education, high school, that's moments wild. It's because it's not just memes or things being talked about in the news. It's we're seeing the effects of all these policies and some of the things that everybody else is talking about. And it's a challenge, but it's even more of a challenge in terms of class sizes. Budget cuts have been made, but we've had to do to make ends meet, result support, less technology support, less support with counselors, and things that are palpable. So it's a challenge. Personally, we're looking forward to seeing the kids on Wednesday, and most of my colleagues will be professional and make the best. It's tough out there. I don't mind sharing that with you. And while we're on that specific subject, I think we're at a really pivotal juncture. Cincinnati specifically, but also in Ohio and also nationally, in terms of public education specifically. Education as a whole, yes, but specifically in public education.
Right.
Now,
And
Philip
if you
and
want me
I,
to define that a bit further, we can do.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
okay. Well, let me ask this question real
locally,
quick.
specifically, the reason why our
Or,
Well, I think we might have a
so
delay.
there's a delay,
Oh,
Lisa,
okay.
and we're having an issue. What are you trying to ask?
And that brings up another question we're going to answer. But Philip and I have a policy. We vote for school levies. Okay. Even though we do not have and never have had children, we vote for school levies because education in the future. Now, that brings us to
Generally would help your property values out in the long run too.
Yeah.
okay.
That is
Yeah.
true.
So my big question is, what is the best way for us to support our teachers? Whether it be like volunteering or finances, or how do we best donate so that it impacts you as a teacher personally? Okay. So, like, is it better
Never.
if we do what?
The answer is really simple. The answer is really short and simple. Never vote Republican ever again. Ever.
Okay. Now,
Don't let your friends vote Republican ever again. Don't let your neighbors vote Republican again. Make a handmade sign and put it in your front yard, whether it's a small front yard or whatever. Hang it off the side of your yard where people can see it, and let your friends not vote Republican. We're in crisis.
Okay.
And I believe that if the levy fails, you can vote. You can advertise specifically for the levy because it's suffering a public relations disaster.
We do.
And with Citizens United flooding everything with too much money, it's the message is lopsided. The bad guys are lying and lying repeatedly. And if you live in Cincinnati or Ohio, for sure, you can't turn on your TV without just swamps of ads from all these shady PAC organizations we don't even know. So their voice is being amplified and they're screaming at us.
Right.
I think people like you and I, the best thing we could do is be a counter voice, saying there's real people that feel differently. So yeah, for certain with your vote, I mean, that's John Lewis. If you would ask the great late Senator John Lewis, the most important thing you could do, he would, say, he famously said posthumously, cast your vote.
Yeah.
But that's the most important protest we have.
We are members of a PAC organization here locally. And we are looking into expanding. We've been to every one of the 5150 protests that we were able to get to. But what I was talking specifically is, let's say we have $100 to donate. What's the best way to donate it? Should we just give it to you? Should we give it to Crayons for Teachers? Should we give it to, or should we buy a couple of backpacks and take them to one of the backpack events? And I mean,
I would
right
buy,
now, this money right now.
right now, I would buy I would go to Home Depot. Well, don't go to Home Depot because they support MAGA. Go to Lowe's
Okay.
or go to Michael's and
have-
buy a big plywood, and then buy some paint and paint on it. Vote Acton.
Okay.
And paint on it.
that's not a
Pass our
problem.
levy. Save our schools.
That's actually
Because the amount of money that we're
Right.
playing for with the levy.
right.
You know, that makes such a huge difference compared to what our grassroots donations are important. If everybody donated $100 here or there, we could maybe prop up a failing system, but we need to sort the system. We need to pass the levy, full stop.
Right.
And then we also need to stop the source of us having to go back and beg cap in hand for levies all the time, which would happen. So to just rewind and just remind your viewers that since the late 1990s, the Ohio Supreme Court has ruled that in the state of Ohio, the way that we fund public education is unconstitutional. And it had to change. And here we are 26, 25 plus years later, and it still hasn't changed. Why hasn't it changed? Because that entire time, our state legislator and our governorship has been in charge and been run by Republicans who ignore the passing of our own Supreme Court, and they won't properly fund our schools.
Well, they dismantled.
And if we think it's bad now, the VAC will absolutely completely make it 100 times worse.
Okay.
I mean, he's specifically campaigning on the fact about disbanding unions, not funding public schools, increasing vouchers. So I appreciate your offer and your heart's in the right place. And what you're saying is completely admirable, Lisa. I want to donate $100, maybe your classroom or something. I get it. But compared to the millions that we have, where we should have, if we had proper funding, we need to pass these bills.
Yeah.
We need support from the government.
We've got Linda
And have them
McMahon
not working.
that's dismantling the Department of Education.
Well, I mean, this is my message. Remember, I got to be careful what I got to be careful what I say, because I'm an employee of Cincinnati Public Schools, and I'm very happily employed by the school district, and I don't believe it's their fault. And I don't believe that what they're doing is anything other than being highly responsible and trying to do the very best they can with the money that they have. The issue is not my employer, and the issue is not the teachers. The issue is the lack of funding for our public school districts and how our public school districts are funded.
Tell me more about the levy.
Our CPS is doing the best they can. And the last thing I'll say, because there's a lot of, again, being a counter message, people say, oh, why don't you cut administrators and things like that? As a teacher, I need administrators.
Yeah.
You've cut administrators to the bone. Why am I going to send the kids who act up in a class to the point where I can't teach the other kids? So now what are we going to do? We need administrators. Yeah. They're not wasteful. Right. So let CPS do its job, give them a proper budget. And then, all within our public education team, the administrators, myself as an educator, all these kind of stuff, we'll make sure it happens. But we're not properly funded.
Yeah.
So the situation's tough.
We have the equipment already in our garage to make the sign, vote Acton, or just vote Democrat, or don't vote Republican, But, and then also we'll put up vote for the school levy. Education is our future. We can do those signs. We've already got the stuff. We spend no money. We've still got money.
Well, what's the messaging?
What do we do with it?
Well,
more.
Tell me about the levy. I don't live in Cincinnati anymore.
So the zoom back out, I mean, the big picture that everyone has to remember, and a lot of people don't understand this, is that public school districts and local school districts can't carry a deficit. They have to balance their budgets at the end of every year. Other businesses don't, and corporations don't, and governments, infamously don't, but school districts do. So with the amount of funding that they're projected to receive, which is decreased, and we can talk about why in a moment, they're going to be at a deficit. So because they're projecting a deficit, they've tried to lower that deficit as much as they can. They've made cuts to over 100 different positions. Teachers were furloughed. So I'm working on a pay cut.
Oof.
We've had a net pay cut over the course of the year because of furlough days. So it's tough all over. I asked the janitors and security guards when I saw them; they've been having financial difficulties too. So it's spread across the district, and basically the district is saying we can't cut any further. The next thing we got to cut is sports or something else. That'll be oh my gosh. Well, we're at an oh my gosh moment, and so we need money. That's what the levy is. That's it. That's all. And you either be like fund the schools properly, or it's going to be like, oh wow, they cut. I don't know what it is because I'm not a school board member. I'm not going to hypothesize. But they've talked about athletics and all kinds of stuff.
I mean, given the opportunity,
they just call it the school levy, Cincinnati public schools levy, or what are we telling the world to vote yes for here?
Well, it's local, state, and national. So we're talking about Cincinnati because 3 of the 4 of us are having that conversation.
You have an active levy coming up for vote, I guess, in November.
Yes, and there's other school districts in the same boat across Greater Cincinnati and across the state of Ohio. So Ohio is kind of getting it acutely, but I think it's true across the nation. That they're trying to disband the Department of Education. Right. Okay. And they're specifically attacking special needs education at a national level. So regardless of where you're at listening to this, it might be different applied in your local level, whether you got a levy on or not, or whether you're talking about state. We got this important gubernatorial campaign, this Ohio State governor campaign that's coming up in November. Amy Acton versus Vivek Ramaswamy.
Please, God.
So that's big here on a state level.
Please, God, do not elect Vivek Ramaswamy.
Well, what the president himself, he'll tell you what his intentions are. He says, I like uneducated voters. I want people to be uneducated. They're proactively working against, they're dismantling the Department of Education. It's a nightmare. I mean, and I can see that you're very passionate about it. When I asked the question, I was like, oh, well, we got to get some book supplies and we got to, decorate the room and all this shit. No, we're talking about
Phil, as a friend, let me be very clear, please. Right, I'm on a recorded podcast. I don't know how many people will see this or when, right? But I'm on a recorded podcast, and I'm a public history
Tens
teacher.
of people.
I'm a qualified teacher, and I'm a lead teacher. And I'm telling you that the tone of my voice is reacting because I feel that we're on the front line of fighting fascism. I feel that our democracy can fall. Democracies do fail. And I believe that we're at a tipping point, and it's that close. If it's not too late already, I'm hoping that we're not too late already. And the elections actually are elections, and they're actually allowed to happen. We already know they're going to contest the outcome. Right. And you've got the pillow guy, saying that a vote is rigged when it's Republican primary. It's a Republican primary.
Right.
I know. Exactly.
We know how they're going to behave.
He lost by a lot, too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I don't know.
So I think it's serious. I really think that I'm not being over dramatic or whatever. I think it's, I'm working on pay cuts. Maybe I got a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
But this it's real.
It's a good place to plug our bi-weekly podcast, Political Cadence, every other Saturday.
Right.
Yeah, it is definitely an Antifa podcast. Feel free to all the Republicans out there who are listening, and they do listen because they comment. Feel free to find a local Antifa meeting and check us out.
Yeah, check with the Antifa.
It's if you didn't know, we do a
Antifa bylaws. It's all clear.
Very progressive show where we come on with our friend Will and we vent on these types of things. And certainly your voice here is impactful.
And one of
my family's been actively Antifa since my grandfather served in World War II.
Exactly.
So
and unfortunately we're not.
I think if we actually organized, it could be a little scary.
We're right in the middle of a MAGA.
I've been
we're encircled by
Antifa
MAGA
from birth.
people, I think.
I was raised Antifa.
Anyway.
Well, you know what might help us, and what might be of interest to your viewers is if we talk about what we kind of mentioned before is perhaps a let you know remind you where the book ended and where I kind of left you with the book, and then what's happened in the couple of years since then.
Let's
I
get
guess.
Definitely get to that.
And it might be getting us away from. Yeah, you shouldn't turn your eyes to what's going on. I think that's part of their intention, right? They carpet bomb us with news that you can't keep up. Like the national news should be longer than a half hour. It needs to be 2 hours just to cover all the headlines. We're all exhausted.
I'm of a mind that they don't
feel
deserve.
Like wag the dog.
They do not deserve the attention that a normal administration had. They should not be on Meet the Press Sunday morning.
I think the MAGA followers don't give it the attention that we do.
Right.
Well,
maybe
that's probably true,
Very
but
true.
I don't think that
they just watch
when the
Fox
president
News.
holds
They
a
don't
press
listen to what's
conference,
going on. They don't give a shit. They just vote for him.
You don't have to carry it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to cover it like you would in normal, because everything that comes out of their mouths is
They
a
do
lie.
need to get gas.
But
They know why
Jeff made a great point. We came here. We usually reserve that for political cadence. So let's get back to the book, because I mentioned, we got a copy of your book. Really appreciate that you sent us a copy of the book. We read. I don't think I finished the book, but I did read a good portion of it. You're a very good writer, and I'm just wondering what what's been the follow up from the book specifically.
And let me say this: you seem we kind of we're getting into politics and stuff, but we live a fairly quiet, don't go anywhere. We're not social animals. We're both a little bit, I wouldn't say antisocial, but
well, we are in that network.
Insular.
I'm a mountain hermit.
But Aaron's different. We'll let him speak for himself. But Philip and I kind of have a tendency to be homebodies, especially because of my medical conditions. You, on the other hand, seem to live a very interesting life, as the Chinese curse says. May you live an interesting life. But I don't think it's a curse for you in the long run. So, we have read the book, and kind of where did we we've read 90%
for me, but I read the book.
Yeah,
Aaron did read the book. Yes.
Yeah, we've actually listened to it. We do have a copy of the book, but for some reason we can't find it.
But we got it. We did get a copy, a digital copy.
Right, so we get a digital copy, so we've been listening to it.
I think it got lost in the move, actually. I was devastated about that.
Yeah,
That's
thoroughly.
I've been looking for my copy too. The owners before me, who left most of their stuff here.
Yeah.
One was a professor at USC, and the other one was a librarian at CSUN, Cal State. So this place is chock full of books, plus the books we brought with us. And they all got kind of mixed together, and there's boxes everywhere full of books.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know that it's next to a database design book that I had that was the same dimensions. I just don't know where they're at.
I'm just going to say that from what I can see, most of the walls in that room could be bookcases. Just saying. Of course, my dream room, if we had an extra room, is a book room that is completely lined with bookcases. All the walls, even the door, will have paperback, okay? And there'll be a chair in the middle of the room and a really good light. Maybe 2 chairs if he's good. And that's my dream room.
All right.
But
so back to our question. How has it been since you published a book? Now that you're a published author, I mean, have you done any book signings or have you done any promotional things for it, or how's it been? Feedback?
He mostly gave these books away. I don't know if he's been selling them so much, right?
Yeah, no, and I refused to make a profit on it. So yeah, whatever money I did receive, which wasn't too terribly much, I'm glad I didn't plan on retiring on it because I couldn't have.
Did you recoup costs? Did you recoup costs?
Yeah, for sure. And what I keep realizing is more people, I don't know, you send something out into like the world like that and it disappears, because I didn't go around and do book tours or whatever else. So I assumed that nobody paid attention and nobody read it.
They did.
Which is fine if they did or they didn't. And if you can't, it doesn't matter if you find the book again or not. That was kind of the point. You got to find your own book. I mean, your truth is waiting inside of you. I mean, the book that you lost is one story of 8 billion. So, and yours is just as interesting.
Right. Well,
but, so I wouldn't stress about it, and I'm humbled that you would consider reading it.
Oh yeah.
So
it's very interesting, and we recommend it thoroughly. And I know you don't want to make a profit off of it, but what if
No.
you sold it for charities?
There's whatever money I receive, I donate to a human trafficking charity.
Okay.
So yeah, I've donated a couple $100 over the past couple of years, which is good.
Well,
and whatever comes in from it, I'll keep giving to a similar kind of charity.
And that's where you could contact one of those, whichever charity you've been using.
It's in our Kindle.
And say to them, would you like to list my book for sale to profit your...
Oh yeah, I didn't think about doing that. I didn't actually tell the charity I was going to link to them. I just did. So perhaps I should give them a heads up. You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, that way, if they wanted to, what is it? As long as you recoup your expenses, you could print another run and they could list it. And I mean, I think it's an interesting book, both American and international.
Well, what about your students? Have they asked you about it?
Oh, yeah.
Have you talked about it in class? Or history lends itself to biography?
No, I don't advertise that it exists. And it wasn't written for children, and it wasn't written for young adults.
Right.
It was written for adults who had reached a certain stage of their life.
Right.
So the 20-year-old version of myself wouldn't have written that book and wouldn't have understood it. And if I read it, it wouldn't have helped me or benefited me very much.
Wouldn't have written the book.
I've had a couple older students say that they've found it or whatever. But it's not a high. It's not that the content's necessarily like bad or ill. It's just that it's not, the psychology is not right for them.
Got you.
Yeah, you have to find yourself. You have to know who you are before you can lose yourself.
Right.
And if you think about it, nobody awakens before a certain age because you got to find who you are first. I guess all the great teachers were at least 30 plus or something. You have to have a certain level, I think, of maturity and have life experiences and insight before you can look back and kind of reflect and put things together.
Right.
So what I did find, to my surprise, I got talked to them going back into an old fraternity reunion. It was a homecoming for our liberal arts college I went to, and it was some anniversary date for a fraternity. And I hadn't had much to do with them, but there was some close friends that I was happy to see, so I went back specifically to see them. But I was surprised by the number of guys who came up to me saying they actually read it. And because I didn't paint that fraternity in a very positive, necessarily light, if you remember. It was like, I detailed it was pretty rough in there. But yeah, they got a lot out of it, including a guy who recently suffered a bereavement. He said it helped him through a bereavement. So I always said that if it helped one single person, it was worth it. It wasn't fun to write. It wasn't a pleasant, few weeks of 50-hour days or whatever. I'd rather do something else. But as long as it helped one person, I felt it was worth it, and it helped at least a couple people. So
seems like you did do that pretty quickly, huh?
Yeah, it was. I'm not overly creative, so I need to be able to create a bubble in my head. I am mildly autistic. I'm somewhere on the autistic spectrum, just a little tiny bit. Just enough that if I could be left alone, especially with music on my headphones, I can just sit there and be hyper productive and crank it out. If I got going from my world I create to the real world and back, it's exhausting. I'd rather just be in my world and get it done. Do you know what I mean? I had it noted. I had all notes and stuff scripted, so it wasn't Jack.
You had an outline.
Yeah, it wasn't Jack Kerouac stream of consciousness. It was connecting the dots from a script, if that makes sense. It was paint by numbers when I already did the outline.
You already knew the story. It was just
second book at that stage too. It's just a matter of getting time to
you weren't making it up. You were journalizing it, really.
Yeah, and you know what? And honestly, while we're talking about it, quite often, try reliving some of it, some painful things, including a suicide attempt when I was a young man, and divorces and all kinds of stuff. So I try to be as real as possible. Which meant taking the skeletons out of your closet and dancing.
Well, you mentioned the reunion. Aaron sent me a message that I guess we're having a 40th anniversary for.
I've been asking since February, and the announcement finally came last night. Yeah, it's like a ball game in Norwood and going to a couple of bars.
That's like it's imminent, right? It's like in August, isn't it?
It's September 18th.
Oh, September 18th. Are you planning on coming?
I'm gonna look at flight prices. If I can find something reasonable, I'll come. But if it's
of course, as you know, Hotel Lisa and Phil is available.
Okay, so but the point is, I was thinking about things that are those those reunions are so, they can be so imposing because of your experiences that have been like etched in stone from childhood. Like, this guy was an asshole to me. You know, how am I going to talk to this guy when I know that he's the guy that pushed me when I was taking a piss in the urinal, or, you know, stuck my face down in the toilet. Not that I had my face stuck down in the toilet.
Not that he had a swirly, but
you know, some kind of, you know, like the jocks versus the old, you know, heads rivalry or whatever. Those things. And then you meet these people. It's, you know, 60-year-old, 55-year-old people, and it's like, oh, how do you do? What are you doing? Oh, I'm successful in this and that, and I've got an MBA and all. I mean, it's very, I don't know. Aaron seems to run headstrong into it. Where me, I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that.
It's not very formal. They tried to do something formal for the 30th, and it was like I think it was like a $60 a plate dinner, and over half the people couldn't swing that money.
Yeah.
So it's being in one guy's backyard, about, I don't know, 30 people or something.
Yeah. It's like I already know the people that I wanted to keep a relationship with.
I do want to say this. Okay. I was working at a restaurant when I was like 20, and one of my middle school bullies came into that restaurant, and she was a waitress at a different restaurant. Okay, because she had her outfit on, but she came in to get the amazing and incredible fried chicken that they sold at the restaurant I was working at. I worked at Hyde Park Hitching Post. The chicken is that good. If you can get to the Hyde Park location.
We're talking to a couple vegans here.
Okay, but just a little advertisement for Hitching Post fried chicken. And I know you guys are vegans, so sorry about that, but deal. She came in and she saw me, and I did not recognize her. And I think part of that is my trauma memory kicks in, and it just took all the people I was tortured by out of my head. So I had no idea who she was. And she says, Lisa? And I said, yeah. And she goes, we went to junior high together. And my initial reaction is shut down.
Yeah.
Junior high was torture fest. It was horrible. Hated every minute of it. But, you know, I tried to stay open, and I said, oh, yeah. And she goes, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's.
And that just I'm almost crying right there. I don't even remember what she did. I don't remember who she was a part of the group with. I don't remember her. I don't remember her name. But she said, I'm sorry. And that just, whoa, you know? And I know for a fact that a friend of mine, her sister was married to one of Philip's bullies. And I know for a fact that he had a come to Jesus moment and really wanted to apologize to people that he was bad to. He was on medication. He was not so much religious, but you know what I mean by a come to Jesus moment without religion. Okay. And he wanted to apologize to people that he had wronged. And Philip wouldn't even consider it. It was like, there's a restaurant that's owned by a guy that.
All right. So when you look on Facebook, some of these people are still shitbags.
Yes, they are.
They'll give you a facade. They'll give you a facade like, hi, how you doing, Phil? It's good to see you.
Even if
then you look into fucking Facebook and they're like, okay,
say sorry to you.
It's not.
You guys might not be going to the reunion. You're saying
podcast is not about our issues, but Jeff, how do you? How did the legacy of high school experiences and stuff like that? How's that shaped you? You know, are you a pessimistic person?
I didn't go to my high school reunions either. I mean, this was university friends that I had. I only went to see them, and then I was on campus for 24 hours. Yeah. It was fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Everyone's childhood experiences shape them, of course. I'm not sure what exactly you're asking.
Right.
Well, okay, when you're in a classroom and you see a situation where a child is being, or not a child, but a teenager is being bullied, how do you handle that?
Well, hopefully appropriately. I mean, there's in every bullying situation, there's actually two victims. The person, the recipient of the bullying, is clearly a victim,
Right.
and needs to be supportive. But ultimately, you have to ask the question: why is the bully behaving the way that they are?
Right.
Are they not? Is the bully not receiving enough support? Is the bully simply copying behavior they've seen at home or whatever else it is?
Yeah.
So it's never a simple situation, and it's never simply a matter of, just punishing the bully and hoping for the best. It's hopefully what you can do is something that it's not even a buzzword. I think there's a lot of buzzwords in education, but this one I think is legit and appropriate. It's called restorative practices and restorative justice. This idea, instead of just simply punishing kids or giving detention or suspensions or something else, that you actually sit parties down in remediation and arbitration, you work things out. You try to resolve relationships so the relationship can be restored so you can move forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
So depending on how severe the bullying is, and how traumatized the victim is, whether that's appropriate or not, but ideally you try to get them together in an appropriate way and resolve it.
Right.
Okay.
But whether I do that on my own, or whether that has to happen through counseling and everything else depends on the situation going on.
Right.
Okay. Well,
Sometimes they handle in the room. It's just a matter of taking two people out in the hallway and having them chat it out real quick, and then we sit back down. Sometimes they have to go to an administrator, and the assistant principal over deals with it and gets them to talk it through.
Okay, I'm gonna say here that I hope it's improved since I was in second grade, because when I was in second grade, they were shopping that at the school that I went to, and here's the exact situation: 11 girls ganged up. They hit me. They scratched me. I was bleeding. I had scratches. I had bruises. None of them had a mark on them because I did not fight back. 11 girls against me. They sat the 12 of us down and talked to us about how bad it is to fight.
Right.
And there was no other discipline planned. Nothing. These 11 girls were like, okay, now that we've talked to all 12 of you about fighting, even though I had no marks, I had no skin under my fingers, none of them were bruised or bleeding. Well, except for one girl, because another girl accidentally hit her. But
I've seen teachers
11-1, and that actually happened. It's a real event that happened to me, and all they did was sit us down and talk to us.
I've seen teachers that do nothing. I've seen teachers that have let stuff like that.
Question? I don't understand my role here.
No, we're just venting.
Has it improved from that?
Am I excused?
What happened?
I don't teach. No, this is important. If you leave,
right?
I don't teach second grade.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm involved in that incident, and I'm sorry it happened to you. I'm not sure if you would like me to stay on the call, or if you guys are carrying on without me, or what's going on here at the moment. I don't understand.
No, we're talking about.
Well, here's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Here's what I'm saying, Jeff. I've known teachers that have let bullying flourish and done nothing about it. I'm just wondering how. I know you don't teach second grade, but that still takes place even in the 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering how,
you see bullying, you can interact to it. Yeah, if you see any semblance of bullying in the classroom, you act appropriately straight away. You address it with a young person, and if appropriate, you involve a school counselor or administrator and the parents. It's different for every circumstance because every young person is different, and every time they bully somebody, it's different. Does it happen in my classroom? Yeah. Not very often, to be honest, because I establish clear boundaries and guidelines in my classroom. The kids are occupied, and it doesn't really rear its head in my room as often as it might do other places around the school, but occasionally does. And when it does, I react immediately. But what that reaction is would be different for each situation. If it's very, very serious, one time I had a young man last year use a racial slur. towards a Hispanic young person. That was an immediate situation where I asked for security to remove the young person from my classroom, and then an administrator deals with it because it's grounds for expulsion. And it's not my place as a teacher to suspend or expel kids, and I don't want that role. I'm a teacher. But that's something above and beyond what I can deal with in the classroom. Other times there's issues of bullying that happen within the classroom where I can actively deal with it, address it in the class, and then we can carry on with a lesson. But the differences between the two are the differences between the young people and the differences between all the situations. And 8th grade is different than 12th grade, is different than 2nd grade. Their levels of understanding, how much they understand about processes and they can engage. 2-year-olds are pretty young to sit around a remediation table and expect them to get it. I'd be surprised they tried that, but I didn't try it.
No,
and
second grade,
it works very well. You try it with mature 12th graders, it can do a great thing. So it's really depends on the young person and their maturity and their intelligence and what they're bringing into it and all kinds of stuff too. So it's really not one answer. I'm not trying to be evasive. It's you got to take each situation that comes. It's not something that you can get AI to be trained to simply give you a standard answer for it. It's a human touch.
Let's do a transference of physical assault to physical assault.
What?
I was physically assaulted by 11 people. Let's say that a kid in the classroom was physically assaulted by 1 or 2 people.
Let's move on to let's talk a little bit about your music.
Yeah,
all right. Let's go to a lighter. Let's talk.
I'm sorry, and at least I'm sorry if I brought up bad memories for you. If I somehow brought this up for you, I didn't intend to, and I certainly wasn't wanting to bring up those memories for you, make you feel that way. So if I did inadvertently, I apologize.
You did not.
Well, and that's really having been bullied from kindergarten through high school on a regular basis.
So let's
it's always right up there. I need counseling. We just can't figure out where I can get it.
So you're not with the
but let's go back to either music or books. Philip was saying music.
So you're not with the Almighty Get Down anymore, right? I mean, it's been disbanded for a while. But do you ever play with those guys? I mean, do you still go out on the weekends and play sax and stuff like that?
Oh.
No. No, I haven't. No.
No.
No. And that's a
bummer.
I'm not about that band. Not right now. I only did last time.
Are you playing it in the house?
Yeah, I'm playing. I'm been learning how to play piano. So for the past 9 months or so, I've been teaching myself piano because I want to write a musical. And even though I've got enough friends to be able to compose the score for a musical with me, and I probably will go that route because they're more experienced and quite often more skilled than what I could come up with, I still wanted my ideas to be able to come to fruition. And although I play saxophones and I've dabbled in chord instruments before, I'm not very good at playing chords and composing. So I've been learning how the Who and the Beatles and all these famous bands, Fish and the Grateful Dead, and how their chord structures work and how they actually wrote songs. And so eventually at some point when I'm ready and I have a span of time where I can write that book and write things out, I'll work with somebody to hopefully compose the musical.
Sweet.
Oh, are you thinking about a sequel to the book about your life that you've already written?
Yes and no, but no. Right. Okay. So it's
not right now.
So the epilogue is no. It's just like it's done. I'm retired. No more stories, no more adventures, no more whatever. And just like you said, you become you're relatively reclusive. You don't go out. I very rarely leave either anymore.
Oh, okay.
Something.
Well, you travel.
Huh?
Is that a 20? Oh.
I haven't recently. I haven't traveled for a couple years other than to go camping. Although we will start again. So
recently, I guess not.
No, I don't know.
It's been fixing up the house. So.
Is that a 2020 thing, possibly?
Yeah, it's partly that. I've gotten used to being on my own, but it's really it's so to try to make some sense of this, the epilogue of the book, why I didn't bother writing it. I'm kind of more living it, and then I'll have this work of fiction. I'll express things. once you once you smash a mirror, you don't put the pieces back together again.
Yeah.
Most of my life was better, but some of it was awkward and strange. And by that I mean, I guess 98% of what local Cincinnatians take advantage of in this town are interested in, I'm not. Like we already said, Aaron and I don't eat meat. Well, that's most restaurants out. That's most events, like Taste of Cincinnati. There's some things for us, but not much. I don't consume alcohol. Yeah, I'm also not a materialist consumer. So shopping and all these kinds of things, I just don't participate in. My girlfriend and I like the arts. We'll go, see music or the ballet or Shakespeare in the park and these kind of things. But the vast majority of things that happen in this town just aren't. I'm not. Just not something I'm interested in anymore, because I'm not. I don't know, like John Lennon sang, I'm not sitting on the merry-go-round anymore. I'm just kind of spinning around and around and watching the wheels go round. I'm no longer interested in these type of things. I'm also not. It's true. Everything I wrote in the book is true. Although now, several years later, it's more true. And I don't take back writing it, and I don't cringe when I think about writing it. But I would have written it slightly different now. It'd been more mature now. I guess what you saw in the book was somebody who's just having this experience and trying to capture it as it happened, and it's kind of breathless and excited. And now I'm much more just kind of at peace and cool and understanding with it. I'm comfortable being not like other people, and I'm not. That's fine. And it's so yeah. It's a matter of making my peace with it. I lived on my own for a bit. I fell the editor. So okay. You guys don't know this. The woman who edited my book was an old friend who I met in junior high school named Amy. And Amy was the smart girl in class who was too cool and too different to talk to. I remember in high school, she wore all these like weird French fashions and stuff like that, and kind of sat on her own. And I thought she was pretty and interesting, but she was too smart and kind of too different for me to go up and make a fool of in front of. So we never dated or anything. Evidently, she had a crush on me all the time. No one had a crush on the high school version of Jeff Demaree. I guess Amy did. But she grew up to be she graduated from high school early. Clever girls like Amy, I guess, and she got the hell out of there. She went on and lived her life, and she had a life that's her own book. Between us, we got 4 divorces and 3 adult children. She was living in Lexington, working at the University of Kentucky as a regional depository librarian, which is quite a big deal, a tenured member of staff. And she was a perfect person to edit my book. What a kind gesture. And it's not a small undertaking, editing a book is a lot of hours. It costs a lot of money if I would pay for it privately. So the least thing I could do, I thought, was to drive down and to take her out to dinner and say thank you in person and stuff like that. So we hadn't seen each other since high school. Well, she didn't go to our graduation. She was already graduated and gone.
Right. That's cool. Yeah.
We met for dinner, and the first thing I thought is, oh my gosh, she's really, really pretty. And dinner went really well. And there was another dinner, and we started smooching on each other. And it took a while to get our lives in sync. We commuted back and forth between Cincinnati and Lexington, which is about 90 minutes, if you're unaware. Far enough to be a pain in the butt, but not too far to be undoable. We got the dogs kind of getting along together, and last summer she moved in. And that was my old place. It wasn't really set up for, it was a bachelor pad to meditate and chill, but it wasn't really a place for her to work from home. She landed a new job with the federal government as a depository librarian for the government publishing office, I think.
Ooh, librarian.
Ooh, you want to talk about democracy? Why democracy safe? We think we're tough. You don't mess with librarians. They might seem quiet and kind of introverted, but our nation's librarians are something fierce. I'm just going to leave that. All right.
An army of librarians.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Empower these people. They're good people.
So who did we have, Lisa? We had Mrs. Bosch and Mrs. Warfield, who are librarians. Remember that?
Okay, that would be Aaron you're talking to, not me.
Yeah, Aaron.
I was an assistant librarian for them, actually.
You were?
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
If I'd known that was something you
Why didn't I know that?
Sorry, but not sorry for the diversion.
Nice. Norwood, just for that.
A nice shout out to our librarians who are undersung and keep us, man. They're not going to destroy democracy. They're the ones keeping it together. They got records of it everywhere. It's awesome. Right.
And they see what the kids are checking out.
So we moved house. We didn't move too far away, but we bought a farmhouse here in Delhi, where we grew up in our local school district. I moved all around the world. She lived all around everywhere. We've been married, divorced, only to end up right back where we started, which is just absolutely hilarious.
Have you got cluster flies, alas?
I've learned how to play that song on piano just because, you know what? We do have cluster flies. They come about at certain times of year. There's nothing to do about it. They breed in the walls.
This time of year is bad.
There's a lot of them, and they really are. It's like exactly like the bloody song. I now know the chord structure. I could play that song for you on piano, which I won't, but I could.
Mm-hmm.
So to kind of
I might
tie
be
this
there
all,
in a month. Maybe I'll hear you then.
maybe so. Yeah. Come. You're welcome. Crash with us when you come to this reunion too. We're only 15 minutes away from Norwood.
Yeah. We're actually not in Norwood anymore. We are now in Springfield Township, Mount Healthy adjacent.
Okay, so not far from
our school system is Mount Healthy, and
gotcha.
But so you've got
same challenges we were talking about. Yeah.
What is it?
They're around the corner from the house I grew up in, or a mile or two away from it. But I was in Greenhouse Forest Park City Schools.
Yeah, and I lived in the house. We moved out of the house in Green Hills, and Aaron's family moved into it.
Gotcha.
That was my second.
It was an unlucky house because wasn't that where your parents got divorced too?
No, they were. We moved there because they got divorced.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well,
my parents didn't last much longer after the Green Hills house.
So we start
a couple, but Jeff, we'll do this off camera.
No, okay. As we start to wind it down a little bit here, we know Jeff has to, has a swimming pool waiting for him.
So let me like in 5 minutes try to make sense of some of these all these different directions we can kind of run around.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I can still hear you as I walk away and fill my coffee. You can keep talking.
You're good. So we started off talking about like life coaches and stuff like that. I'm not a life coach either. These things do exist, but I'm not one. I don't know desire to be one. I used to be a business coach before I became an educator and a qualified teacher. I did work as a business coach, which is life coach adjacent, I suppose. It turns out that there is a qualification in life called a Dhamma master, which is somebody who is qualified to teach the teachings of the Buddha. It's a very specific thing that's conferred on you by elders in Buddhism after you've gone through so much training and stuff like that. That's not me either. I'm a high school teacher. I teach social sciences, psychology, anthropology, and good stuff like that. But I don't claim to be anybody's life coach. And I also don't claim to be a Dhamma master. But I read one every day. His name is Michael Cooley. I'm happy to give his name because he's never asked me for any money. He's not a cult leader. There's nothing like that whatsoever. Publicly available. Read it if you like it. You don't like it, you don't. It's easy enough, right?
CEWLEY.
LEY, right? And it's I traveled the world twice and wrote a whole book about it and read everything I possibly can. And I'm happy to cite the source is a good place to start of some of these ideas I'm talking about and some of these things that we're kind of exploring and that got to the end of the book and why I'm at peace and all these kind of things. Because he presents himself certainly as someone who is at peace, as well. And I had a conversation with him quite a while ago about his next steps. He's getting elderly. It's getting harder for him to travel around to give meditation retreats like he does. He currently lives in a farmhouse in a forest in the south of France. And he leaves his farmhouse retreat to go lead meditation centers. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. Well, if we built a meditation center, a retreat center near your farmhouse, then you could still lead retreats without having to get on a plane and travel, and you could teach for your longer. And my heart was in the right place, and I thought this was a good idea. And even though, he spent his whole life teaching meditation and Dhamma, he's not a business individual, whatever, but I got those business acumen. I could help with that stuff. And his response was really swift, and it wasn't what I expected at all. He simply replied, what I had in mind for my next stage of life is something more along like this. And he sent me a YouTube video. I'll share it with you here. It's called Amongst the Clouds. And it's from quite a while ago. It's recorded on a handheld camcorder, old style. And this guy who had been studying Buddhism in China had heard about these old enlightened people on top of a mountain. And he wanted to go find them. And he did. I think the guy videoing it, the documentary guy, it was from Portland, Oregon or something like that, a Westerner, right? But he goes all the way off, as far off the beaten track as possible, get off the beaten track, you know, all the way up these mountains, not proverbial mountains, physical mountains with bamboo. And he finds these ancient Chinese Buddhist masters. And these individuals are living as solitary hermits on individual mountaintops with no refrigerator, no money, no currency, just self-sufficient. And that's just how they live. They're not posting anything on social media. They're not giving lectures. They're just being.
And
it's a beautiful concept. And that's what, you know, Michael said his idea of end of his life was. And that got me kind of thinking. And Amy and I started talking, and she's the one who suggested it. She came with the phrase, why don't we hide in plain sight? I'm like, oh, I like this idea. Because before I met Amy, I was thinking about becoming a monk. I was about ready to maybe ordain and just be done and go probably Thailand and just be over. Mm-hmm. But I'm a qualified teacher. Most people can't do that. It's an important thing for society. I'll keep doing that. And Amy and I we don't have to go to China. We don't have to go to the top of a mountain. You could do it wherever you're at. You could do it in Norwood. You could do it in Mount Healthy or California. The place isn't relevant. Michael was right. He's just going to hide in the middle of his forest in the south of France. Well, I'm in Delhi. And the zip code isn't a relevant thing at all. It's where you're at. If I'm not happy in the zip code 45233 Delhi, Ohio, I won't be happy anywhere. You know, so the peace comes from between your ears. And it's just the rest of my life. This is the epilogue. This is the second part of the book. Jeff lived happily ever after, peace. Yeah. And that's it.
All right. Well, that's a fantastic way to wrap up.
That is beautiful.
That's a good way to herb these cats today.
You know what I mean? It's not exciting. This is why I wrote the book when I did, because I know there is no second part. There is no second version. That's the postscript. The postscript is Jeff floated around in his pool. Is his pool in Hawaii? It doesn't matter if it's in Hawaii. It's wet and it's warm. I close my eyes and everybody pisses off anyway.
Well, I think I would disagree with one thing that you said today. And the only thing I would disagree with is that you said you're not necessarily a creative person, but I think that your book, your ambitions are right, the musical piece, your work with the sax would belie that. I think that you are a very creative person.
That's very kind, Phil. Thank you.
Here.
We got less than 3 minutes, sweetie.
Your energy and emotion comes across in the book.
Good. Well, and the second thing I'm writing,
a delight to read. I know there's bad things that happen, but it makes it a joy to read.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Lisa. That's very kind.
To me.
Yeah. Well, you know, if I can create what's in my head and have it come out, I can have this. I have a story there, but it's about kind of telling how somebody through fiction comes to this moment of peace. It's instead about me, it'll be a fiction thing. But we'll see. It'll take me a while to write, but if we get to that stage, I'll share it with you.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me back. I really appreciate it. It's always good chatting to you guys. It's always good seeing you too.
Yeah.
It's
going to be a good year. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a good year.
After we start recording, please. Okay.
All right.
Just a moment. Okay.
All right. So have a good have a power bomb for us in that pool.
Yeah. I'll be